But I'd really love to hear some testimonies about what God's been doing in your lives over the summer. What is he saying that can build up the body? Over to you. Can do it from that mic, that'd be great. Chris is coming.
If I can just start by saying I didn't let Jackie know about a testimony because in truth, I don't like things being on YouTube forever. My testimony being there forever, and then I look back. It's just one of those things. But at the same time, being in the present, I hear Jackie's call, to just speak about how God is working in our lives every day. And one of my foundational beliefs is that God talks to us through the everyday circumstances of our lives. And recently I went into my garden and there was the most enormous spider's web spanning a huge distance. And I thought, I wonder how does that spider get that web from this point to that point? It's a huge distance. And if it was me, I'd be thinking, don't even try. It's not going to get you anywhere. Don't waste your effort. But I thought, God must be saying something in that because it's touched me. It's just stimulated my senses in some way. So I looked it up online, and lo and behold, there was David Attenborough doing one of his programs about spiders and how they traverse huge distances. And it was all on video. It was wonderful. And the spider looks at the distance, and just all it does is it spins its web, it releases the silk, and it just lets it go into the wind. And it waits. It stays there, and it waits for that strand of silk to make contact somewhere. And as soon as it senses that contact, it then scurries along the silk, anchors it, and then begins to build its web. And I thought, wow. And what really touched me in that was that just release what's in you. And we heard that earlier today in the worship and what Jackie was saying. Whether we believe it or not, we are gifted because we have God's gift implanted in us that's unique to us. In our web, God wants us to be spinning the equivalent of our web that will enable those who are not strong enough, perhaps, to traverse the distances that they can't do on their own. So it's just a word of encouragement that God is speaking to us all the time. If we just stop and pause and to say, Lord, what is it in that, and why has it touched me, and where might you be speaking to me in that? So it's really stopping and watching and pausing and listening.
Thank you, Chris. Judy.
I didn't have anything prepared, but I'm going to add something that I believe has just come to me, to what Chris has said. The spider released what it had into the wind. And I think God is saying something to us about releasing what we have into the wind of the Spirit, letting go, giving our gifts, our beings, our personalities to Him, and letting His Spirit take that, use it as He wills.
Thank you, Judy. Other Chris.
gorgeous 6-year-old black Cocker Spaniel who has epitomised enthusiasm for me. When you have somebody else's dog and you haven't had a dog since you were a child, you're a little bit nervous that you don't sort of let them go on, you know. So for the first couple of days, we just took her for a walk on her lead, you know, very like this. And then I took her one day, and I thought, you know what, this is a nice, secure field, and I let her off her lead for the first time, and she surprised me because she barked about 5 times, and up till that point, we'd had her for 2 or 3 days, and she hadn't barked at all. So I thought, what have I done? You know, what have I done? But and then she just shot off, into the other side of the field, and then went this way and that way and backwards and forwards, sniffing, and she does, with such joy. And it was kind of an illustration, really. There's this release. So we have the power, like I did walking the dog, to release each other into freedom. And we weren't designed to be on a lead. We were actually designed to run free. And as we were singing, you are the air I breathe. I think God is saying, I'm not a long way away. I'm right here, as close as the air that you breathe. And He wants us to breathe in deeply. Psalm 81 says, "Open your mouth wide, and I will fill it." That's obviously a food thing, but God has got everything that we need, and He wants us to take it on board, and to enjoy it, and then, like the spider, release it to each other, but release each other into that freedom. We have huge potential, which we have is so far untapped, and He wants us to live out of that freedom. So be like, Bonnie Wilston, and enjoy your freedom.
Thank you, Chris. Dogs are great teachers. They teach us so much. Jenny.
Like Chris was saying about taking notice of things that the Lord can speak to us. On the way to church this morning, I saw a ginger cat sitting outside a front door in the sun. And I thought, what is the Lord saying to me through a ginger cat? So all those of you here with red hair, take note. And I thought, oh dear, what does the Lord want me to say? And I thought, it's about peace. And I couldn't find a word. I thought, oh, this is not working. But then I opened my Bible, and this is what I had. It says shalom. And shalom means completeness, fullness, peace, health, safety, tranquility, harmony, perfection, rest, prosperity, and wholeness. And for all of those of you who have red hair or had red hair, shalom.
Thank you, Jenny. Jez.
Morning, folks. It's lovely to see everybody. We've just got back from a lengthy period of holiday, and we feel really blessed. We had a theme which kind of ran through some of that time. The first week we had off, I'll try and keep it brief. We were down in Devon, and some of you may know that we have been helping on a kids' activity holiday down there for quite a long time. We've been down there for about 20 years. And the guy that leads or has led that activity holiday for the last 20, well, actually a lot longer, years, is retiring from school. And so we were starting to explore, what does the future look like? And then, strangely, the next week, we went to Abersock, and the kids get involved in the beach mission there. There's a beach mission there that's actually been going on for over 100 years. Incredible beach mission. Riding Lights used to be involved in it, all sorts of things. And they were coming to a point where our good friends, a family that had been running it for 12 years, were saying, actually, we need to stop. We don't think we can do this anymore. And so there were a group of people who were gathering together to pray for change and seek the Lord in terms of direction. And it just struck me that as you shared about that whole spider picture, which is so helpful, and Chris shared about that letting go, that it's exciting. It's a sense of release, but there are probably those of us who also feel a sense of risk aversion, because alongside that release is a bit of a what's going to happen. I remember full well the first time I let Bonnie off the lead. My goodness, my heart was running a pace. I didn't know where she was going to go. Sometimes she didn't know where she was going to go. And I just wonder, it's exciting, isn't it, that sense of release? But it's risky. And I think God's calling us to trust, even though we might find it hard.